Good morning. We're looking at a passage this morning from the 12th chapter of Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. This church at Corinth gave Paul more trouble than any other church he founded. He spent 18 months there, longer than at any other church or city except Ephesus, and he wrote several letters to them. The one we call 1 Corinthians is at least the second letter, since he says in 1 Corinthians 5:9, I wrote to you in my letter. We don't have that letter. So Corinth plays a major role in Paul's life and ministry. Many scholars believe the first collection of Paul's letters was made in Corinth. It was a busy city, an important city, a population of about 600,000 people. A bustling port, had a reputation as a dangerous, contentious place, full of brash, sometimes unpleasant people. The low moral character of the city was proverbial. Even the prostitutes of Corinth were regarded as the lowest sort of that profession. Given this background, it's not surprising that this church was troubled. It was split by factions. Some followed the teachings of Peter, they said, and others the teachings of a man named Apollos. And still others said, well, we're the real Christians. We follow only Jesus. So it's no wonder then that Paul wants to find some unity, some way of pulling these people together so they can focus on what they have in common and not their differences. His image of the connection among the various parts of the body is not original with Paul. Hundreds of years before, Aesop, you've heard of Aesop's fables, Aesop told this fable. Back when all the parts of the human body did not function in unison, as is the case today, each member of the body had its own opinion and was able to speak. The various members were offended that everything won by their hard work and diligent efforts was delivered to the stomach, while he simply sat there in their midst, fully at ease and enjoying the delights that were brought to him. Finally, the members of the body revolted. The hands refused to bring food to the mouth refused to take in any food, and the teeth refused to chew anything. In their angry effort to subdue the stomach with hunger, the various parts of the body and the whole body itself completely wasted away. As a result, they realized that the work done by the stomach was no small matter, and that the food it consumed was no more than what it gave back to all the parts of the body. So the other parts of the body work together and begin to cooperate. Paul picks up this image. He was an educated man. I don't know if he'd read this somewhere or if it was just common knowledge, but he uses it in a very similar way that to what Aesop does, as we'll see in the reading now. So let's turn to the reading, which is in your bulletin, or you also have the page numbers in the Pew Bible. Just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit, so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free. And we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not for that reason stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, and the head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable, and the parts that we think are less honorable we treat with special honor, and the parts that are unpresentable are treated with special modesty, while our presentable parts need no special treatment. Sorry. But God has put the body together, giving greater honor to the parts that lacked it, so that there should be no division in the body, but that its parts should have equal concern for each other. If one part suffers, every part suffers with it. If one part is honored, every part rejoices with it. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of you is a part of it. And God has placed in the church, first of all, apostles, second, prophets, third, teachers, and then miracles, then gifts of healing, of helping, of guidance, and of different kinds of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Do all work miracles? Do all have gifts of healing? Do all speak in tongues? Do all interpret? Now eagerly desire the greater gifts, and yet I will show you the most excellent way. This is the word of the Lord.